Sup, y'all? Here I am talking again about the dark night of the soul. And, well, you may have seen my other video. I deleted it. I mean, it's just like one of those fucking things, right? Like, I was crying, and I'm still in this dark night of the soul phase, but at this point, I've been doing a lot of research and finding out that actually a lot of people are kind of going through it right now, which is crazy. Because like I said, before this hit, everything was fucking amazing, right? Like I was really happy with my life and like everything going on in it. So it was like way to back it up 10 steps, right? And I'm just like, okay. But, it's not my first rodeo. And like I said, something about this dark night seems a little different. It's not suicidal depression. It's not like agony. It's just neutrality. It's not feeling real lit up, not feeling real motivated. Like a mild, what somebody might say, like a mild depression where it's like, you know, I could go either way. Like, yeah, I could get dressed up and put a bunch of makeup on, but why not just allow myself to be comfortable and relax? So that is what I have been doing. So I was coming on here to basically share some of the knowledge that I've gotten from this now because I was watching somebody else's, it wasn't a live video, I don't know, some kind of video or something they posted, and it was like, you're gonna have ebbs and flows. And when you're in a flow period, everything's going awesome. Opportunities are like falling out of nowhere. And that was literally what was happening for me. Like the start of January, it was almost like the end of February, started January. I felt like I was my future self, or almost there to my future self, like I was seriously getting booked from like top photographers around here, like over and over again. Like it came to the point where I actually, like my calendar, I had 3 to 4 photo shoots per week with just all these different photographers. I was rocking. I had like 30 something subscribers on my OnlyFans. All of my friends actually wanted to go out and do things. I was going to concerts, I was going out to the clubs, I was like VIP everywhere I went, flirting with some cute guys. My karmic twin was acting absolutely amazing towards me. He was really kicking it up a notch, coming over here, helping me out with housework, like big jobs too, like the basement cleaning, and like everything was cool. Like things were going good. And I'm like, okay, I did it. You know what I mean? Like I've healed, everything's good. And then literally, like I said before, if you've watched if you check these last couple of videos, I'm talking about like nothing happened. Nothing bad happened like in my 3D. This was just it's either a moon phase or a planet phase, and I'm starting to hear a little bit more about it. Of course, I listen to these astrology updates and everything, and there is something going on with Saturn and Pisces, but what I'm hearing is like collectively everybody's kind of facing this shadow, and I'm no stranger to facing a shadow, you know what I'm saying? But I'm really like, wow, everything stopped. Like, it's weird. I have not been getting any sales. And so, like, I'm not just a spiritual person. Like, if you're watching me, I'm posting this on my spiritual channel. Um, I do card readings, I do energy healings, I do healing sessions, I do Reiki, I do pretty much any kind of spiritual healing, I do it. But I also have other things that I'm into. I do modeling, I do sales for makeup, and I am a makeup artist in person. And I sell pampering products like soaps. I also get into CBD sales, like sales of whatever kind. I'm pretty much like, I'm into that. I like to have a social outlet to where I always have a reason to talk to someone and relate to people. I always want to make sure I have like a way to kind of just be relatable or relate, and I like to help people. And so it's like no matter what somebody needs, I seem like I can be someone that they can go to. So, it's kind of like I feel like I focus on both spiritual endeavors as well as creative passion endeavors. Everything kind of goes hand in hand. And a lot of people say the way that your business is going is the way that your like man life is going. So it's like whether you have just one man in your life and you want that relationship to be freaking amazing, or you are on the dating scene and you want to like get a lot of hot dates going. Um, if your business is slow, chances are your dating life is slow. And that's like what a lot of coaches teach, but sometimes I feel like you cannot say the same thing for every single person. Because I've had times when business is going amazingly and literally the romantic life is just flatlined. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm going through this phase where I like to follow different coaches and I like to hear what they say, but then I also kind of like to say, hey, does this actually resonate with me? Because, everyone has their own perspective. And I always think about this with the polarity coaches too, the male polarity coaches, because, a lot of the stuff they say about single moms, like, I feel like a lot of us single moms don't necessarily agree with it. And I don't necessarily think that we're always speaking from wounding. I think that the truth of the matter is that we prioritize our kids. And if a man can't fit properly into that unit, then there's no place for them there. And I was really thinking about this the other day when I was sitting on the couch, resting, hanging around with my kids. They're all on the couch. A couple of us are bunched up, snuggling. And then, like, my two middle younger boys are on the other side of the couch where we have like an open space in the living room, and they're doing their little ninja moves and they're tumbling. And I love that. I love it when kids are not on screens and do physical shit. I love when they run around outside. I love when they're doing bikes. I love when they're pushing each other on the swings. And I love when they're inside, even though it's a cold winter night, and to see them tumbling around and doing their fight moves and just being brothers. Like, this is like the envision of being a mom and having a bunch of kids, like that's fun. I enjoy that. it's not like a bother to me. You know what I mean? It's not like they're screaming and being completely disruptive. They're just laughing and, doing their fights. And it took me back to thinking like, hey, like this is a good time. Like I'm here in the moment. I'm enjoying this. And I think, well, how would a partner fit in? Like what if I had a boyfriend? Like I would think if I had a boyfriend, I would just want him sitting next to me or like rubbing my feet during all this stuff or whatever. Um, but not someone who's gonna like disrupt what we got going on. And that was kind of an issue with my karmic twin. Like, we've not been together for over 6 years, but every once in a while we get along. And so sometimes I'll let him come over, like for, I guess you could call it family time, after dinner, and he'll come over and he'll sit on the couch with me, and the kids are going to do what they want to do. The kids are going to watch the TV they want to watch. And if they want to wrestle and, get rowdy, that's what they can do. And I do remember that he, like, at one point was annoyed. And this was his own kid, too, and my other kid. But they were just being boys having fun, and he was just like, this is annoying, like blah blah blah. He was complaining about kids being kids. And after about like 20 minutes of him getting kind of huffy and puffy about it, he just left. He went back to where he stays, which is in his mother's basement. And it's like, bye then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I don't want to bring a man into my life who's going to be like annoyed with my kids or like make me feel any type of way. Let's get one thing straight. I pay the bills in this motherfucker. I put the food in here. I'm the one running the show. And my kids grow up with freedom of expression, freedom of creativity, and I've never, I've had boyfriends here and there, and they would like come and hang out with my kids, and there wouldn't be no issues. Like everybody gets along fine. They're pretty cool, but um these were people who wasn't like serious life partners or anything. But when I was married, I was expecting a serious life partner. I was expecting him to be the dad and stepdad ultimately, because, he knew that I had a bunch of kids before he got with me. And he just tried to like, the level of control, I was just not going for it. And like some of these male polarity coaches will be like, oh yeah, you're not submitting to his leadership. But his leadership was rooted in wounding. And it was more like control. And it was more like taking my kids' happy time and then squashing it, like it's just, I'm not a person who gets all upset about little things. Like somebody spills juice. Okay, yeah, it's annoying, but like whatever. Grab a towel. Let's throw a towel down on it. Like it's not a big thing. Like I was married to somebody who like would get real irate about dishes in the sink, and it's like I fucking cook all the time. Like I make food all day, for these kids and myself, and it's like, yeah, there's dishes in the sink. Like what's the problem? And I think people that like get annoyed with that I don't like that. Also, I'm a creative spirit. I have several projects or like samples of stuff that I'm selling or things I'm getting into, and I have it all laid out on my table. Like I'm sitting right here, and surrounding me on my table is a lot of my stuff. Yeah, it looks like a mess, but I know where everything is, and I'm doing things. This is my spot to do things. And um if I was to get into a partnership with someone, it's like either be lovingly helpful to like maybe organize the chaos a little bit or whatever, but don't you get abusive with me. Don't you fucking tell me how to fucking live. Like, if you don't like the way I live, like, if you don't like how I am, if you don't like that I'm a little scattered, like, go be with somebody who's a minimalist, because I am definitely not, and my kids are not. My kids have a lot of toys. They have a lot of shoes. I have a lot of shoes. I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of cool stuff, and I like my stuff. And if I want my stuff over here, it's going to be here. If I want my shoes over there, they're going to be over there. If I have over there a pile of like 7 or 8, 10 pairs of shoes, because my kids have like 3 pairs of shoes each sitting by the door, okay, they're sitting there. There's a pile of stuff. And like, no, I'm not going to sit here and be some kind of a Nazi to just make everyone keep everything all lined up tidy all the time. Like, no, like, I'm not going to waste life getting pissy about that stuff. Not to mention, I have a lot of cats. Like this beauty here, this is Cleo. And, you know, when I was married, he really didn't want any cats at all. And my pets bring me and my kids a lot of happiness and a lot of joy. So why would I want to compromise that? Like, I'm not here to be controlled by someone. Silly Cleo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would need a partner who wants to join in the fun. Like, I can't be with somebody who wants to put me in their type of a box. So yeah, maybe I'm not really submissive, but I want to be. Like, I would submit to somebody who's lovingly leading, not controlling. And that's the big difference. I think a lot of single moms would submit. But the other thing is, I've been through a lot of instances where I have had to put my shit in my name, because I had, you know, if I get with somebody and like we're trying to do this life partner thing here or marriage, whatever, and they got bills in their name, they can just they've easily cut off shit where me and my kids are living, because they want to like get mad at something and you know, use that as some way to get back at me or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to be in that situation. I've learned that from early on, that for my security and my kids' security, I need to have the bills and the place of living in my own name, which I do. There's like 5 different bills that come every month, the mortgage or the rent, whatever. And now if I started seeing someone and they want to go past like dating, yeah, they'd have to be probably like leading to offer, you know, they'd have to offer, oh, hey girl, let me see your bills this month, let me throw you some bands or whatever. Like, yeah, I would need them to be like stepping up. But the thing is, that has never been my experience. I've not had anybody really step up. When I agreed to start living with the person I ended up being married to, before I knew anything about polarity, before I knew anything about healing, you know, we had it worked out on some split. And that's just a glorified roommate. And eventually that's exactly what made me just get rid of him, because it's like, look, I don't need somebody to pay half of this shit and then think that they're gonna control me, like, or add anger to my household. You know, it got to the point where, and I've always prioritized quality time with my kids over work. And I don't fucking regret it, because they're way older now, and it's like, I know I was there. I was there for every fucking minute, every step of the way, every kiss, every hug, anything. I was there. And I cuddled them all day. If they were sick or if they were just happy, if they fell asleep in my arms, I held them. I was there. I'm hands on. I'm still hands on with my kids. And I still prioritize quality time over anything else. So, what I needed from a partner was to step up and do the mundane tasks so I can continue to be a mother, not someone who expects me to stop my parenting style to appease them. Like, you don't get to come home from your job that doesn't even really support me or my kids and then come home here to my house and bring your anger and bring your rage and bring your unwillingness to join in or relieve me or lead us. Fuck that. And I mean, this dude used to come home and he'd just get pissed if he sees like dishes in the sink, or get pissed if, you know, if like a kid would like leave some toys in the bathroom, you know what I mean? Or like anything. It's like if there was any evidence of life being lived, they get pissy. You know what I mean? And I had a dad like that. He'd get all, you know what I mean, like abusive, angry, like, you know, and I just didn't want that life for my kids. And even though what I thought that we were in love, you know, clearly I don't think it was love. I'm pretty sure it was a trauma bond, but I mean, it could be a form of love, I guess, but the compatibility to live together was not there. And it was a really hard decision, and it really broke my heart that he just wouldn't see it. And I asked him several times, begged him, cried, like, please see, like, please help your anger. Please help whatever it is that, like, makes you so, so mad and so angry to come home to us living. Like, you know, there was 6 kids in the house. And like I said, I was going to sit there and I was going to breastfeed my baby, and I wasn't going to like put my baby down and make him cry to go and make sure there's no dishes in the sink to eggshell walk on some man's rage wounding. Like, no, I'm not. So yeah, so I had to make the choice to be a single mom. You know, and that's just one example of one of the men I had to leave to be a single mom. Like, let's talk about the first one briefly. Okay? Of course I wanted it to work out. Of course I got married thinking that he was going to be awesome and amazing, and I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and we were going to have a happy family. Of course that's what I fucking thought. If I would have known that he was going to get the idea to go and become a meth manufacturer with his uncle and his cousin, and then leave me as a single mother to fend for myself with 2 babies under the age of 1, while he goes off and parties it up millionaire style in Florida, I would not have chosen to get into that. Okay? But, you know, I knew what my priority was the kids and their safety and their well-being. So, yeah, I wasn't going to be letting somebody who's like bringing drugs around like to come into my house. So, yeah, that marriage had to end. I had to get out of there, you know? It sucked. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to be alone, but there I was. And it was never like I had some amazing, like, I didn't get to have some amazing time. And then it's like, you know, anything that I thought was good, like, stopped being good, and like all kinds of bad shit started. I remember just holding a newborn baby, nursing a newborn baby, and having a raged out husband come home screaming at me for what? I don't even fucking know. And broke a fucking mirror, held a piece of glass up to my neck, started threatening my life. And I'm just sitting there, like, putting my hand over my son, like, oh my God, like, fawning. I had to fawn in that scenario that I just brought up, okay? When we're faced with trauma or life and death situations, you're going to be going fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Now, the fawn mechanism is a trauma response where you give in to the perpetrator and like try to make them happy by like diffusing the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I would not have fawned and tried to just say, oh, you know what? Hey, like, there was no way in fucking hell I was in the position to fight with him over me like this, holding a baby. My instinct, the only thing I could do was wanting to make sure my baby could be safe. There was no way I was going to try to get up and run because the way he is, you know what I mean? Freeze, well, I was pretty much frozen, but the fawning is where you want to do something that you know is going to make them happy so that they you know what I mean? It's going to go a lot easier for everyone. And, you know, I'm pretty sure that just looked like, you know, me like, gosh, I can't even remember. I know I got out of the situation though. I know that I was like, why don't you, I don't know what I suggested. Probably sex, you know what I mean? Because that's like a good way to fawn against a man when they're going to try to kill you. And I do remember to the point where I eventually got him to pass the fuck out. I don't know what he was on that night, but I packed up my baby and I had to drive to my parents' house, and I went to their house at like midnight and was like, I need to stay here for the night, which was horrible because if I wanted to be at home, I wouldn't have moved out so young and tried to escape them to go to an abusive man. So it's just been a whole bunch of fucking trauma, okay? So this is what I'm saying. Like, for you to say that nobody wants to date a single mother because we're not going to submit and be submissive, that is a lie. If there is anybody worth being submissive to, I damn sure would. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who's awesome, who's like coming around like, hey girl, like, whoa, I see that you have some boxes here. Do you need me to lift these up and put them anywhere else for you? Like, somebody observant, somebody aware and observant. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I see you got a broken down car in your driveway. Can I take a look at it? Somebody's like bringing their tools out, and, you know, somebody who makes the situation better, easier, more enjoyable. That's somebody who can earn respect, love, submission, whatever else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get to come into my already made situation here, and add anger or anything derogatory to it. Because I could tell you, we could do bad all by ourselves. Like, so yeah, listening to polarity coaches talk about single mothers, I hate it. But I mean, I do have to admit some of the stuff kind of is true. Like, trust me, all I want is to be in my soft feminine role. That's all I really want. But at the same time, I've never had that type of a life that would allow that. And, glimpses of it here and there when I'm with the right person and they're treating me the right way, I know how to fall back. I know how to, be submissive, let them lead, let them go on the ideas. But honestly, so many men like don't have a clue and they're not observant enough to be in that leadership position. And so I'll let them sit there and try, but in the back of my head it's like, do you not notice that my drink has been empty for 20 minutes? Are you not going to offer me another one? Like, I'm not going to lead this man and be like, hey, can I have another drink or like whatever? Like, I'm going to wait for something to be offered. I'm not going to be like a overly zealous person. Like, if I'm out with somebody, I want to experience how they treat me. And if I'm sitting there and I'm in my feminine and I'm leaned back and I'm being all sweet and I'm like listening to them and they're not observant of me or my needs or asking me what I would like or anything, then it's probably just not somebody I'm going to be giving my time to on a regular. You know what I'm saying? Like, before, if I was wounded, who knows? Like, I try to remember going out on dates with the one that I married, and we did have a good time on dates, you know what I'm saying? But something that really bothered me about him is he wouldn't order for me. And the guy I was with before that, even though we did not have that was not a good relationship either, but he always he would always ask me what I wanted, or, he'd help me look through the menu and suggest things because he knew what I liked. So he would suggest, oh, that looks like something you might like, or this, and ask me what I want. And then when the waiter came, I could just sit there and I didn't have to order. And that is actually what I prefer with a man. It's not a deal breaker, but it is something I prefer, and I do really like that. So, it was just another one of those things where things get really complicated, and the dating world, when you're already established with kids, can be really hard because when they were younger, I really, really, really wanted that life partner. I wanted that dream of growing with someone and Sunday morning pancakes together and doing all the things together, going to birthday parties together, somebody else to watch the kids while I get a shower, family outings to the zoo or to the lake, picnics, um, you know, someone that I trusted full-heartedly to take over for me if I needed to rest, and someone that cared about me, getting rest if I needed it. And that was a real hole in my life for a really, really, really long time. And now I don't necessarily need that life partner for my children. And that situation of a family, because my kids are older, it's just that it's different. Um, what I'm wanting now is more somebody that's just for me. Like, I want somebody to make me feel good. I want somebody to treat me right. And yeah, if that means coming over sometimes when my kids are here, and like, of course, they're gonna have to be cool with the kids too. But I don't need that real family oriented type of a relationship. I'd be totally fine with somebody who's just a hot boyfriend and, You know, that's kind of where I made the mistake before. My husband was a pretty good boyfriend, like a pretty good boyfriend before I tried to before tried to make him transition from boyfriend to husband, because he's not emotionally available to be a husband. He was great to have date nights with. He was great while the other kids went with their dad and I had free time, and we had very sexy hot date nights. And he'd fix my car here and there, and I'd see him maybe 4 days out of the week. That was fine. That was great for him and me. But then getting pregnant with his child, and then hoping that he could transition into being a husband figure, that absolutely was hell. Absolutely fucking hell. And some people just, you got to know what category to put these guys in. This is what I'm saying. Like, dating, hey, somebody who may be awesome at a one night stand or a hot date or even a hot dinner date, they might not be life partner material. So, watch out. And you never know. Really, I mean, you really just never know. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what kind of a person somebody is until after you already have that kid. Because I mean, even people I was with for like a year or two, I mean, they might be okay, and then when it comes to them having their own kid, shit hits the fucking fan. I mean, something changes. Something changes with these guys. And it sometimes it changes for the better and they step up and they're like amazing, but I've never had that experience. It's always been they've gotten so much worse, so much more selfish. I've really got to see that they don't value me and they don't love me and they don't even give a fuck about my life. Um and that was never apparent until after the kids were born. So, yeah. There's been a lot of shadow work around that. Around, I have to learn to not hate. It was my masculine aspects that kept my kids alive. It was me and my masculine energy who's out there hustling to make money when I didn't get any child support, and making sure these bills were paid. It's me and my masculine energy who pretty much raised my kids alone. And that doesn't mean I want to stay in my masculine energy. Fuck no, I don't. But not hating myself for having that energy, I'm really working on that. Daughters who are raised by men who love them and set proper, have proper emotional connection to them, and raise them correctly, they go on to have probably their first or second boyfriend turn into their loving spouse, and they go on to like have these families, and then everybody's close, and it's like Christmas time and family and prosperity, and it's just they just go through these natural things. And people that don't have that, people that were raised in dysfunction or emotional abuse or trauma or neglect, abandonment, any of this stuff, it's different for like all these. You can be fucked up in so many ways and then go on to carry these things out, and it's like never was an intention. Never. I would have never chose to be having kids inside of a broken home. Like, that shit sucks. Like, sucks isn't even a word for it. It's absolutely, it's a hole in your heart, devastating thing to go through. Something is missing. No matter what. No matter how much fun we're having by ourselves, when I pile everyone into the car and there's that missing seat up front where I should be riding in the passenger seat, and our savior, hero, king, daddy, should be driving us. That's a missing piece. Sitting around the dinner table and me serving out all these little plates, and then there's just one grown-up plate, and there's not a second grown-up plate, and there's not a second grown-up to help. That's a missing fucking piece. And that hurts. There's nothing that healing can do to be like, any of this is normal. I've never gotten used to it. Like, I'm not used to it. It sucks. Sleeping alone, freezing without that strong, warm body of a lover, that is a missing piece, and it sucks every time. Like, it's not like I just get used to it. I mean, who gets used to that? That's grief. It's living in grief. Being a single mother is living in grief. You know, it's like if something goes wrong with my car, something silly or simple or something dumb that any guy could just easily fix, and me not having a clue and not having anyone that even cares enough about me, that's a missing piece, you know? And so far, my kids have never had any example of a good relationship, unfortunately, because their dads don't even have relationships at all, which is probably better because it's not like I want some random girl around my kids. But, you know, I wish my kids could see me getting treated good. I wish they could see me light up when I'm happy. And it's, you know, they've seen me happy before. There's just a certain happiness that you can get when you're actually being provided for and taken care of and having a good time with a man and getting your physical needs fulfilled. Like, you know, oh wow, what are you happy? Oh, you know, I had a really nice date last night. But anyway, this dark night of the soul is kind of just bringing me back to a lot of the things that I've been through, and that I had to just, I couldn't heal from it because I was so busy making sure my kids were okay that I had to put my healing, and I couldn't cope. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then when they did get older, and then I did start having more time away from them because they were old enough to be, you know, going with their dads for the weekend or having times with their grandmas or whatever. And I was exhausted from the trauma. And I was sad. It was a lot of sleeping. It was a lot of crying. I mean, it was a lot of trauma healing, and I'm still doing it, I guess. But I mean, I did come a far way. I think I've come a pretty far way. You know, I do want to acknowledge how far I've come, but like I said before in this past video, that happy family dream, that might be something that I never get to experience. And I have to accept that, you know what I mean? I realistically need to accept that. And be okay with it, you know. This is what I chose to come here on earth and handle, I guess, you know. And I'm going to be writing out some affirmations to see what I can do about turning this around. But, you know, all the times I had to step up and be that man, I never wanted to. I had to. You know, I wanted to be led around as a princess in the passenger seat, just getting to be a mom and being loved. And that didn't happen. So, yeah, I had to be a hustler too. And I guess it put me in my masculine energy, and I guess it just makes guys not want me, according to these polarity dating coaches, and it is what it is, I guess. I mean, all I can do is try to work on myself from here, but I think that I wonder if it'll ever be enough, I hope one day. But yeah. All right, well, I'm just going to upload this video and then move along, but yeah. Thanks for watching.